Today, we're digging into the stories of some of the most important inventions of our time and the incredible minds behind them that history tried to forget. This is Invisible Inventors, the genius history erased. So let me just start with a simple question. Who do you think really invented Wi-Fi? I can pretty much guarantee the answer isn't who you think it is. And it's a story that opens up this fascinating and honestly pretty frustrating hidden history. You see, the truth is, a whole lot of the tech that shapes our world, everything from the internet to just everyday objects, they have these origins that were, well, deliberately pushed into the shadows. So today, let's try and set the record straight. All right, first up, our first story connects the absolute glamour of old Hollywood with, believe it or not, the phone or computer you are literally using right now. This is the incredible, and I mean incredible, story of Hedy Lamarr. Okay, so on screen, Hedy Lamarr was without a doubt one of the biggest movie stars of her time. But off screen, she was living this total secret life as a brilliant self-taught engineer. Think about that. While everyone else was at glamorous parties, she was spending her nights hunched over blueprints trying to help the war effort during World War II. It's like two completely different worlds, all inside one incredible mind. So how in the world does a movie star end up solving a critical military problem? Well, here's the issue. The Allies' torpedo signals were getting jammed super easily. Lamarr's solution was just genius. And she got the inspiration from player pianos, of all things. The idea was a frequency hopping system. Basically, you make the radio signal jump around rapidly between 88 different channels, which makes it impossible for the enemy to lock on and track it. And get this, she developed it with a composer, George Antheil. What a team up, right? So she and Antheil actually got a patent for this groundbreaking idea back in 1942, but when they took it to the US Navy, they were just dismissed. The Navy called it too complicated and basically just stuck it on a shelf to collect dust. Can you imagine? The patent eventually expired and Hedy Lamarr never made a single dime from her invention. Okay, but here's where the story gets really wild. Decades later, that too complicated idea, it became the foundation for pretty much all modern secure wireless communications. Yeah, the Wi-Fi router in your house, the Bluetooth headphones you use, it all runs on the principles she pioneered. The recognition did finally come, but way, way too late. She got an award in the 90s and was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2014, long after she was gone. And, this pattern of dismissal, it wasn't just for high-tech military secrets. Our next story is about something so common, so everyday, that you probably don't even think about it. But believe me, it has a surprisingly dramatic history. We're talking about the paper bag. Back in 1867, there's this factory worker, Margaret Knight, and she sees a problem. The paper bags they were using were basically these flimsy V-shaped envelopes, totally impractical. She knew there had to be a better way. So she goes and designs this incredible, complex machine that could automatically cut, fold, and glue the flat-bottomed paper bags we all use today. This was a huge leap forward.
But as she's building her prototype, a mechanic who saw her working on it, a guy named Charles Annan, does the absolute unthinkable. He steals her design, runs to the patent office, and files for the patent as if it was his own. He was literally betting on the fact that no one would believe a woman could have come up with such a complex machine.
And when she sued him, that's exactly what he argued in court. His entire legal defense was based on this outrageous claim that because she was a woman, she was simply incapable of understanding the mechanical complexities of her own invention. It's just staggering, isn't it? But here's the thing. Annan came to court with pure prejudice. Margaret Knight? She came with receipts. I'm talking meticulous, hand-drawn blueprints, detailed notes, testimony from witnesses who saw her build the machine from the ground up, and she even brought a working prototype to court. She didn't just tell them, she showed them. The evidence was just undeniable. The court had no choice but to rule in her favor, and Margaret Knight got her patent. And she didn't stop there. She went on to found her own company and became a really prolific inventor with over 20 patents to her name. So it's a story of victory, for sure. But how many of us have ever even heard her name? So this pattern of erasing women's contributions, it wasn't just happening in workshops and factories. No, it went all the way to the top, to the most prestigious halls of science. This is where credit for some of the biggest, most world-changing discoveries of the 20th century was, let's say, strategically redirected. Just take a look at these two staggering examples. On one hand, you have Lise Meitner, the physicist who was the first to explain and even name nuclear fission. On the other, you have Rosalind Franklin, the chemist whose work was the absolute key to unlocking the structure of DNA. I mean, these are fundamental, foundational discoveries, and in both cases, they were completely bypassed by the Nobel Prize Committee. And if you want to understand just how big of an omission this was, get this. Lise Meitner was nominated for a Nobel Prize 47 times. 47! Her peers, the scientists working alongside her, they knew how important her work was. But still, the prize for discovering nuclear fission went to her lab partner, Otto Hahn, and to him alone. Now, with Rosalind Franklin, her contribution was, if anything, even more direct. Her X-ray image, which is now famous as Photograph 51, was literally the smoking gun. It was the critical piece of evidence that proved DNA had a double helix structure. But that photograph was shown to her competitors, Watson and Crick, without her even knowing, without her permission. Once they saw it, they knew what it meant, and just like that, the race was over. So you can see, right, these aren't just a few sad, isolated stories from history. When you start to line them up, a really clear and damaging pattern emerges. And we have to understand this pattern because it's not just about the past. It affects how we think about genius and innovation right now, today. Okay, so what is the pattern? First, their genius was just dismissed, out of hand. Think of Hedy Lamarr. Her invention was brushed aside as too complicated. A brilliant idea, just ignored because of who it came from. Second, their right to own their ideas was challenged. We saw that with Margaret Knight, who had to literally fight in court to prove she created her own machine, all because a thief thought her gender made her an easy mark. And third, even when their work was used, the credit was flat out stolen. Lise Meitner and Rosalind Franklin made discoveries that literally changed our understanding of the world. And they had to watch as other people walk up on stage to accept the Nobel Prize for it. And this is why this is so much more than just a history lesson. When you erase people from the story, you get a totally warped picture of who is capable of innovation. It feeds this myth that genius only looks a certain way. It hides where the things we use every single day actually came from. And worst of all, it can discourage new generations of brilliant minds from even trying. And that robs all of us of who knows how many breakthroughs. So it all really boils down to one final thought, doesn't it? The evidence is all there. Genius, creativity, ingenuity, these things are universal. They don't have a gender. So the question we have to ask is, why, for so long, has recognition